Today we are going to talk about how to choose a photograph to paint and rules of composition and how to choose the best composition. So this is a little still life that I set up of these pears, and I just have an overhead light in the kitchen. So I'm getting some highlights here. So the first thing I look for when I determine when I'm looking through these different photographs, and I take a lot of photographs of the subject in different positions and different lighting and different views. This one's more of a looking down view. This one's more straight on. This one's in a darker scenario here without the lights overhead, just a few light highlights here and there. So it's more of a low-key, this would be more of a low-key painting. This is the black and white of the one that I think we're going to paint, which is this one. I really like this one though also. So I'm looking at, I've cropped it. That's the one of the things I do is I crop it. This is a fairly new iPad, so I can actually go in and clean up things on this, which is a wonderful little feature. If you have a new iPhone or a recent iPad, you can go in and actually eliminate things. So you can go into cleanup right here, and anything that's highlighted, you can delete it. Anything that will, see, you can make it go away, which I think is just, I've been looking for this feature for a very long time, and I'm thrilled that it's on the new operating systems. But so you can do that. You can crop here. You can change it. You can change the format to a portrait or a horizontal, which would be a landscape. You can change it. You can adjust all kind of features. If you don't have a phone that does this, you can go into some of these editing softwares that will do this for you. But I'm spoiled because of the iPad and the you can brighten the highlights. You can go through here. You can change the exposure, so you can make it lighter or darker. So what I'm looking for here is a strong contrast in shadows and highlights, because that tends to make the best paintings. I've cropped this one to the size that I like. I've positioned the pears in a pleasing positions. I like the red on this one. I like this one pointing this way on. Let me show you. Okay, so you can see I really like this composition. I like the highlights and the shadows, and I like this dark shadow right here. I like the view kind of looking down on it a little bit. I like this pear turned that way, and some of the other ones I had the pear turned this way. You might like that composition better, but that guy's kind of pointing out of the picture plate, so I wasn't real thrilled about that. I do really like this pear though, with the oranges in it. So, you know, you could always change it and add some of these other pears, but then you get into all kind of issues with the shadows and the highlights, so I don't tend to do that very much unless I absolutely have to. This is another one I really like. I like this one also. And so what I generally do is I just highlight the ones I like the best, and I eliminate all the other ones that I don't like, so I just delete them. Like this one is overall just too dark. I could adjust all that, but instead of doing that, I could just use this one instead. I like the mid-tones in this. There's not as much yellow, so I really like this one also, and I like the shadows in here. You can see we've got those nice shadows. This one I like, but so I don't like the back side, the bottom of the pear showing here. This would be a nice composition though, and you see they're all very similar. So it's really, you just need to take your time and sit with them a little while and decide which one is the one that you want to paint. This one is not a vertical format, so I really would change that to being more of a vertical like this. So it's between this one and this one. So it just depends on if I want more coloration in here. I could change this. I could actually go in here and edit this. And I could go into adjust. And I could change the tint of this. I could change the brilliance and make it brighter. I could change the highlights. Now see, if I do that, it brings more of the yellow, which is, I like that. If I push the shadows, I always push my shadows fairly dark. And then the contrast, I like a lot of contrast in my paintings. Brightness, you can change that. This is black point. I don't usually use that. This is saturation. So this, you have to be careful with because you can overly saturate these things, but this is tint. So this is going to make it warmer or cooler. And so if I want the pears to be more on the yellow side, then I would set that about like that. And then you can use this with sharpness, which is all the way up. Definition is all the way up. Noise reduction just gives you smoother or more detail or contrast. And this is vignette, and I usually always turn the vignette up just so that it's darker in the background. So that's pretty much how I would do it. So as you can see, this is the one that I chose, and I went ahead and printed it out in black and white. So for my students, I tend to trace off anything that's high detail like this. Anything simple, you can draw the shapes yourself. But if it comes to a detail like this, and I like realism in my paintings, I tend to trace things like this just to be sure they're accurate. So I'll go ahead and do that. Then we'll save out the highlights and we will start painting. Colors we're going to use for this project: Green Gold by Daniel Smith if you have it. If you don't, we'll just mix it. Moss Green by Mission Gold, which you probably don't have, but it's the perfect pear color if you do. Otherwise, we will mix it. To get these different greens, we're going to use the New Gamboge and the Ultramarine. To get these colors, to get that mid-range brighter green that you see in here, we're going to add Phthalo Blue. To make this this odd rust color here, it's really kind of a bronzy color. I mixed raw sienna and burnt sienna, and I added enough ultramarine blue to neutralize it to get that color. This is burnt sienna. To get the darks on the stems, we're going to use the classic burnt sienna deep and the ultramarine blue to get the different stems. And anything else along the way, we're going to add the white of the paper for the actual pedestal. I'm probably going to use some, I see cerulean blue in there in the shadows, so I'll probably mix some of that, a very pale cerulean blue in there. And some of the shadows under here and on here. I'm going to use that dark brown under here. This will be that umbery mix right here. We're going to change simplify the background and the tabletop so that they aren't so busy. So we'll work our colors as we go along. Anything that we need to change or modify, we will do it. I might probably use some buff titanium or Titan Buff, which is the color by Da Vinci that I have, which is just an off-white. You can see. If you have that, you can use it. If not, you can take basic Chinese white and add the tiniest little tint to it, and you can get that. So let's get started here.